here. So the first question is, hi, for the annotated bibliography, do we need to include the 3 Fisher sources, right? You do. And I have them here. And so I'm going to show them to you and explain what you would need to do with them. So what I went ahead and did was I took these 3 sources, right? I did the annotations for them, but there are things you need to do. You need to adjust them, and I will show you what that means. So every annotation has 3 parts to it. It's going to have a summary. It's going to have a part that you talk about the credibility of the article. This is the summary of this article. So Walter Fisher believes that humans are storytelling animals. So I talk about this. This is the main points that he makes in this particular article. And then I talk a little bit about him. So I'd say, a well-respected and widely regarded professor of communication, Walter Fisher developed the theory of narrative paradigm in 1989. Fisher was professor emeritus at the Edinburgh School for Communication. He published many academic papers in the field of communication, several of which were collected and published in a single volume titled this. Okay, so information. And I'll talk about that in a second. All right, so you have summary, you have something about credibility of the article and or the person who wrote it. And then you have this last part where what you need to do is you need to connect the article, my annotation that I wrote here for everybody, to one of your own sources, right? So you're going to have your own thing. And now I wrote one out here for one of my sources, for one of my articles. So the idea that a narrative is most persuasive when its elements, plot, character, and setting, are connected and well integrated is shown in the traditional professor narrative as described by Ron when she writes, the traditional faculty member's role in North American. So I'm going to talk about so I'm trying to say, like, yeah, this person is talking about the professor and the role that this professor used to had traditionally. And that's essentially, from Walter Fisher's point of view, talking about one of the main characters in the old narrative. The character, so I say, the character of the professor, which was once a solid part of traditional college narrative, has begun to change dramatically, both in what professors should be doing and the tools which they should be using. Ron supports Fisher's idea that viewing experience as narrative reveals how values change as the elements of story change. I could fix it, but in any event. So you need to replace this part, right, with your own, something that's connected to your own, one of your sources. If we scroll down, you will see that I left the part blank for everybody, for the last 2, right? So for the last 2, I just said here, this is where you want to, put the part where you connect it to your own essay. So the answer is yes, you're using what I wrote for this, so you can just copy and paste everything that I wrote, and then at the end you're going to come in and try to make a connection with one of your sources. So obviously what you want to do is read the annotation that I wrote, right? Because the thing is, you have to read it, and then in what I've said, try to make a connection to something that's in one of your articles. So that's the key to this. That's under the Fisher annotation. And then I guess you can download it if you want to. Okay, and then